I found the birthday post on a Friday afternoon in October, just after 2 o'clock. James had been gone for 6 weeks by then. He had told me he needed space. Some time to himself, he said, to think. He said it carefully, the way you say something when the words have been chosen in advance. I said, all right. I gave it to him. It turned out space had a name and a birthday post, and 26 years behind her. This is that story. I met James when I was 28. He was 31. We worked in the same building for 6 months before we spoke properly, both of us in client-facing roles, passing in the lift, exchanging the kind of polite nod that accumulates without meaning to. He asked me to coffee, and I said yes. He arrived 7 minutes early. I noticed, and I thought, this is a man who does not want to waste what he is looking forward to. We were together for 2 years before we married. The wedding was small, 32 people, a room above a pub we both loved, a dress I had altered from a shop in Bath. It was exactly what we both wanted, and neither of us had to negotiate to get there. That matters. We made a good life, not a perfect life. I have no interest in describing a perfect life, but a real one. We had friends who came for dinner and stayed until the wine ran out. We had a garden we tended badly and argued about in the fond way that means you are not really arguing about the garden. We had 14 years of ordinary Saturdays. If you have had them, you know they are not ordinary at all. James paid attention for a long time. He remembered the name of the consultant I was worried about before a scan. He remembered the anniversary of my mother's death without being told. He knew I cannot eat coriander without tasting something I cannot name. He was paying attention. And then, somewhere I cannot locate precisely, he stopped. I cannot tell you exactly when the drift began. That is the honest answer. It was not a single moment of rupture. It was more like a room slowly rearranging itself while you are in it. By the time you notice, the furniture is somewhere else entirely. The weekends shifted first, gradually and always with a reasonable explanation. A friend's birthday, a work thing on a Saturday, a weekend away with a university friend I had met twice, each occasion plausible, all of them together, a pattern I should have looked at earlier. I began eating dinner alone on Fridays. He was always back by Sunday. I told myself I did not mind. I told my friend Claire I did not mind. She nodded in the way she nods when she disagrees and has decided it is not her place to say so. I did not ask her to elaborate. I had knitted the cardigan the winter before everything unraveled. It took 4 months on the evenings when he was out and I was in. James wore it every weekend for a year, left it on the armchair at night, put it back on with his morning coffee. I used to tease him about it. He laughed every time. Even at the end, I felt that part was real. He asked for space on a Saturday evening in August. We had just had dinner, a quiet one, nothing preceding it. He set his fork down and said he had been thinking. He said he felt like he had lost himself somewhere along the way. He said he needed time. He said, "I'm not saying it's permanent. I just need to be able to breathe." He had the suitcase in the boot of the car already. I did not know that then. I asked if there was someone else. He said no, without hesitation. He did not say he would be back. I noticed that too. I filed it. I let him go. The weeks that followed were quiet. Not empty. I am not the kind of person who empties out. I worked. I had dinner with Claire. I tended the garden badly, as always, and discovered I preferred it alone, which was a small and useful thing to learn. He texted every few days. "Checking in," he said. I replied. I was, if I am honest, still hoping. 6 weeks after he left, on a Friday morning, I was making coffee. The tablet on the counter, we had shared it for years, both signed into the same account, lit up with a notification. A name I did not recognize. A message that began, "Thinking about you." I stood with the cafetière in my hand. Then I put it down. Then I picked up the tablet. The conversation was not long, but it was enough. He had not been careful with it. I think by then he had stopped feeling he needed to be. I clicked through to the profile. It was public. The photographs were warm and bright, the kind of account that is a statement, not just a record. She was photographed at restaurants, in parks, at a friend's wedding. Once, in what I recognized as the jacket I had given James 2 Christmases ago. He was not in the frame, but the jacket was on a chair behind her, in a flat I had never seen. I scrolled until I found the birthday post, posted 4 months earlier, friends in the comments, her thanking them, and the number, 26. I stood in my kitchen and looked at that number for a long time. Her name was perfectly ordinary, nothing remarkable about it. The kind of name that belongs to a million people and carries no particular weight on its own. And yet I said it once, quietly, in my kitchen, to no one, just to hear what it sounded like. It sounded like the end of something. He was 43 years old. She was 26. I did the arithmetic without meaning to. When she was born, I was in my 2nd year of university. When she was in primary school, James and I were choosing our first piece of furniture together. She was not the reason the marriage drifted, but she was the destination he chose when he decided not to address it. I thought about the suitcase, in the boot of the car before dinner, before the conversation, before the carefully prepared answer to the question I asked in the hallway. He had planned the whole thing. I put my mug down very carefully. I called a solicitor the following morning, not because I was certain of the next step, but because I had watched a friend wait 18 months to make that call, and I had seen what the waiting cost her, and I was not going to do that to myself. The solicitor's name was Ms. Oakwu. She had a direct, unhurried manner that I found, in that particular moment, genuinely steadying. I texted James. I said I had found the messages. I said I would like to speak with him in person to discuss the practical arrangements. He rang immediately. I let it go to voicemail. I was not ready to hear his voice. He had his things collected 2 weeks later. He came on a Wednesday while I was at work. He left the key on the kitchen table. He left the gray cardigan on the armchair. He had not taken it. That evening, I took it to the kitchen table. I cut it up, with the kitchen scissors, on a Wednesday night. Every piece came out the same size, which I had not planned, but which happened anyway. Then I went to bed. I slept very well. There is a particular quality of silence in a house after someone has taken their things. Not an empty silence, a different one. The kind that waits for you to decide what to do with it. I decided quite quickly, as it turned out. The divorce was not dramatic. We were, as divorces go, reasonably civil with each other. James seemed, throughout the process, faintly surprised by my composure. I was not performing it. It was genuine. Composure is what you find when you have already had the real feeling, the private, kitchen on a Friday afternoon feeling, and processed it without an audience. The public version is simply what is left. Claire asked me once whether I was angry about the age. I thought about it properly before I answered. I said, "Not really, not about her age." What I remain, if I am honest, is quietly astonished by the choice. Not the woman. The suitcase already in the car. The answer prepared in advance, the performance of leaving as though it were something that was happening to him. He is with her still, as far as I know. I do not track it. I have my own life now, the same house, the same garden I still tend badly, the same friends who stay until the wine runs out. The armchair is in a different position. There is a new plant in the corner. The question I expected to ask, the one I had prepared myself for, was what she had that I did not. I never asked it. Not once. Because that was not the right question. The right question is why a man would plan his exit, suitcase in the car, answer rehearsed, rather than say to the person he had built 14 years with, "Something is wrong." I do not have his answer to that. I am not certain he does either. And in the morning the garden still needed tending, and the coffee still needed making, and that was enough to be going on with. The suitcase was already in the car. That is the detail I have never been able to set aside. Not the age, not the name. The suitcase. Everything after that was just consequence. If this kind of story is what you came here for, the ones people do not usually say out loud, subscribe. There is a new one every week.